the new trends for people over 50, dating over 50, that directly affect our demographic. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Welcoming back Treva Brandon Scharf, the dating coach, relationship expert, and the author of Done Being Single. Treva, thank you so much for being here again.
It is great to be here. I love it. And thank you for having me.
Trevor, I'm looking forward to our conversation today. The new trends for people over 50, dating over 50. You know, we love following trends anyway. Well, let's get right into it. I think there's like 8 trends that directly affect our demographic. The first one, and I had not heard of this, soft launching relationships. What is it? Mentioning someone new without showing their face or giving full details. Explain that to me.
This is a social media phenomenon, right? And I say, in terms of social media and soft launching, you cannot launch soft enough. We all know the couples, the people that posted too soon and made too big of a deal, or and then only to see it not work out or things fall apart.
It's so funny with the social media thing. It's so interesting because no, we did not have this, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. Maybe it started anyway. Like you said, people get so excited, or some people get so excited, they'll post pictures, oh, we were out, here's, so and so. Anyway, to where you're obviously introducing this person to the world, and
Yeah.
then next thing you know, you're not going out again, and it's so embarrassing. So this is what we mean by soft launch.
My soft launch back in the day was bringing someone to Thanksgiving. That was my soft launch.
Well, what's interesting here, because so many people have made that mistake. One thing that was said here, to get a little more mysterious of what they were saying, and like
Yes,
to the,
yes.
the two wine glasses, we see the feet showing or something, but not showing the face. That you don't just throw that person out there and then be embarrassed later because you're not together anymore.
By the time I met Robbie, I literally had PTSD from all the breakups and the non-starters and relationship fails. And when the day that he posted his relationship status as being in a relationship, I'm like, oh Jesus. I was so nervous. I was flattered. It was such a lovely compliment, but I was so scared that, oh no, what if it doesn't work out?
They say here, you don't have to prove up a relationship on Facebook.
No.
That Facebook does not, make your relationship
No,
real. And
no.
there is a term, what, are we Facebook official?
Yes, right? Can't wait long enough. That's all I'm saying.
Number 2 here, situationships versus serious intention. What do they mean by that? More people now are more clear about what they want. However, situationships are back with a vengeance.
I guess that's called dating with intention, knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want. If something is casual and not defined, is unappealing to you, say it. But yes, situationships are unfortunate because they make you feel, God, brings up the question of where are we, what are we, where's this going? Yes, everybody wants certainty. We've talked about this. But sometimes, no, you don't get it so fast. You don't know where it's going. And that's kind of just how life works. I have a client that said that too soon to someone she was dating. Where do you think this is going? And it freaked the guy out so much because it was too fast, too much, too heavy, too much expectation that he could not fulfill, and it ended shortly thereafter. As he said, because I know the guy too, she was 2 football fields ahead of me, and they had just started, and she was already, give me information, give me certainty, tell me where this is going. I need to know because I only date people who are serious.
It's too strong too soon. We actually had a whole segment with Robert about that. That was the number one question that runs men off, is like, where too soon. If you ask it too soon, where's this going?
Yes, again, I can't, I was that person. But as I say all the time, I kept it my self-inflicted living private hell. I tried to just suffer silently through all of the relationship angst because I didn't want to scare anybody off. But to demand answers or to want certainty, you just can't do that. And that's a lot of pressure to put on someone.
Sure is. Well, you and I did a whole segment on situationships, by the way. So I'll link to that. If you, for viewers, and even didn't catch it, who want to see it, because it has some really good information in there, especially if you're just coming back to the dating world. Then here, trend number three, the gray divorce dating surge. Now, gray divorce has been here for a while, but apparently it's getting some a new boost, that daters over 50 are the fastest growing group. So what does that imply?
That there are a lot of horny menopausal women out there.
Yeah, I was just going for that. There's a lot of 50 singles, over 50 singles.
Yes.
In a way, this is a very reassuring trend. There's a lot of us out there. It's just that big question, how do we match up? How do we find them?
You know what? It's heartening news, right? Again, we're all in this together. And I do believe that men and women want to date age appropriate, and except for Bill Belichick, who does not watch this show.
You never know. Maybe he's trying to. Yes, there's a lot of us out there. We are the largest segment in the dating market. And I want to say, when we did shows on this before a few years back, it's like 1 in every 3 people in their 50s is single. Something. I mean, it's that high. Don't hold me to that, but it's very close. It's very, very close. Here, another trend. And well, our viewers, they would totally agree with this, that dating app fatigue is real. That we talk about app fatigue, online dating fatigue, and that is a trend now. It's an absolute trend.
I kind of love that it is, because, as you know, I have a love-hate relationship with apps. Right. They're not going away. They're here. They're here.
And they're still the number one way to.
And they're the number one. Yes, yes. But I think that there are ways to manage it and ways to keep the fun in it. That's kind of your personal journey with your relationship with apps. As long as everybody is behaving themselves, no ghosting, be nice, respectful. God bless apps. I know a lot of people who have met through them.
I know people always say they don't work. Yes, they do. They actually do. Yes. That being said, yes, tons of frustration that comes along with it, because there's so many more out there now. When I met Paul 13 years ago, there weren't even apps. There were just
online dating. You had to log on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was different then. And I totally recognize that anyway. But if you're frustrated with it, if you're sick and tired of it, if you just hate it, you're not alone. It's now a trend among the over 50.
And I would say that it's a kind of a great topic to discuss because it has changed things so radically in the dating world. And I've made this comment before. I can't remember, maybe it was just a piece of advice I gave to a client who was really struggling, a really nice guy. I think he feels that women feel that there is this unlimited abundance, this illusion of countless options, and that nobody's really willing to kind of hang out and stick with it. And he was feeling very frustrated with that. And that is an issue I have with apps, that it does give you the illusion of like options, countless. And I think what I'm getting at here is talk about it with the person that you're dating. This is what I'm saying. This is a common bond. If you met on the apps, chances are you guys have some war stories, right? Chances are you're going to banter back and forth about what a shitty experience it is and how, I'm burned out and blah, blah, blah. But here we are. We met through the apps. But to be able to talk about it and sort of commiserate, there's something kind of nice about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
well,
think,
it is. Although I would say don't get stuck on that. Don't have a whole pessimistic first
oh,
date.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, because it's very easy to slip into that on a first date, online dating. Very
Yes,
easy.
yes.
Mhm.
But it's a shared experience.
Yes.
It's the elephant in the middle of the room. And,
Yeah.
who doesn't have a story or two to tell.
Mhm.
So, but yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Make it funny, make it light. But don't be like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I think it's also the way it's delivered because it is true. It's hard to stay away from that because so many people are and there's such history. So anyway, enough of that, but know
Okay.
that you are not alone
Yes,
if
yes,
you're
yes,
feeling
yes.
this way. I like this one. This is interesting. Companion first dating. I actually hadn't heard it put like that more people over 50 are prioritizing lifestyle alignment and friendship before passion. I think what you're saying here is that just liking each other is important.
Yes.
And can you spend time together? Can
Oh
you
my
actually
God.
spend a weekend together? I think that's where the companionship piece of it comes
Yes.
in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. How about making a date, some like an errand, a day of errands with each other? Now that is, you'll get to know somebody real quick that way, right? Do some errands together. It's not the most
Yeah,
romantic thing, but you can
yeah.
find the romance in it.
I wouldn't do that on the
Right?
first date. I don't think, although that's be a practical way to use your time.
Kill a couple birds with one stone. Hey, do you want to go out? Yeah. Do you want to go to the store with me? I need to do some shopping and get cleaners, and I need to go to the bank.
We have a lot of programming on this too. Is that, and you and I think, did a couple of videos on it. What is more important, chemistry or friendship, or how important is that initial spark? I think that's where this goes. Is that people, especially older people like us, are recognizing that chemistry isn't everything. Is it important? Absolutely, but there's other things that contribute to a lasting, happy relationship that we can't discount
Sure,
up
sure.
front if there isn't passion. So I thought that was it's really encouraging as well, a really encouraging trend. Now here's a fun one: sex positivity after 50. Not that we didn't know this, but we're just the talk about it is getting more and more and more. People aren't afraid as much to admit that they seek and enjoy sex after 50, and I think our show has something to do with that. We've
Oh,
talked about that
yes.
for over 8 years now, that the best
Yes.
sex in your life could be after 50, and that's happening.
Well, back to my point about, horny menopausal women. I mean, I got to tell you something. The menopause business is like a $600 billion business. It is no longer taboo.
Yeah.
It's hot stuff. It's really, women are out and loud and proud and to be of a certain age. And yes, this is menopause and you can still be sexy and fabulous. And so that I think is in keeping with the positivity.
One of my favorite guests when it comes to that topic is Joan Price. She's like the sexpert over 60. She's actually over 80 now, but she's written several books where she's like the media, she's the go-to sexpert over 60.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll link to some of her things because she absolutely has changed that discussion as well. So
Yes.
I love that topic, and we're going to continue to do programming on that. And yes, sex
Yeah.
after 50, thumbs up. Okay, here's another one. Interesting name: trauma aware dating. And they're saying here emotional intelligence is becoming a major green flag. I think we've known that, but people are looking for emotionally available, self-aware partners who've done the healing.
So I have something to say about that. And I have actually something to read about that if I can. There was a comment from a guy. This is exactly what you're talking about. This trend to be self-aware, personal growth, doing the work, right? Okay, so here's what this guy says. Recently divorced and have been on the dating apps for 2 years. One piece of advice I'll give to women, and you see this often, don't waste time telling us you're looking for personal growth and self-awareness. Red flag words for me. What that tells me is you'll never be satisfied and always be moving the goalposts in your self-anointed grading system that no man can keep track of. This guy makes a good point. At what point is the inner work, right? You will have, I want someone who has done the work. That I can see where it can come off sounding a little arrogant and sort of righteous. You will
Good
find
point.
out if this person, yes, to put it in a profile is kind of, again, asking a little bit of the impossible. It's that sort of, unreasonable request. It's an unreasonable requirement to say it in a profile.
Yes.
How about you find out as you go along?
That's why I'm like, wow, what a point. Never in a million years would I think of putting that in a
I would
profile
never.
or telling somebody that. I just know that's what I'm looking for. I want somebody who's self-aware, but I know you don't demand that. That's
You don't
ridiculous.
demand it. You can't. It's intangible. How are you supposed to? You can't on a profile. And it makes you look
Wow.
like kind of a little arrogant, right?
Very interesting. Very interesting point. I look forward to the comments on this. I bet you we're going to get a lot on this one.
Yes. Coming as I think about it, there's a way to convey that the request. I need someone with who's done the work or is has some personal growth or development experience or whatever, has therapy. You know what? Say, why don't you tell your own story in the profile? Say, I've done this, I've done that, I've done it, and say it, okay? And that way you signal to whoever's reading your profile, oh, this is an evolved person.
We'll hear more on this. Finally, here, it's also an interesting title: conscious uncoupling as a dating filter. So conscious uncoupling, that how someone has handled their breakup or divorce, that says so much about what kind of person they are. And people are looking for or being turned off by people who just trash their exes, where it's always somebody else's fault.
If you really want to know how healed someone is, okay, if you really want to know where they are in the healing,
Mm-hmm.
timeline of their breakup or divorce, ask them, so if your ex walked in right now with a date, how would you feel and what would you say to them? And this woman asked that question, and the guy, her date, told her everything she needed to know about just how still angry he was and how raw he was, and that this guy was in really no shape to be dating. He
Mm-hmm.
just said, I'd probably, I'd punch him in the face and I'd tell her she's a bitch. What you'd want to hear is, oh, I would probably get up and give him a hug and say, nice to meet you to the date. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that says you've done the healing, you've done the
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
you're good to go, and you're probably available,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally available.
Yeah. And not all situations are like that. I mean, you might have had a really super ugly divorce, but you don't care anymore. You're over that. You would never want to see this
Right.
person again. But
Correct.
it's what sort of emotions come up when you think about the situation you described.
And the ones that say to you sometimes, oh, I'm ready, and they jump in and they love bomb, and we've talked about this a ton,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yes.
I want instant connection right now.
Right.
Worry about those. Those are
Yes.
also people you have to worry about.
Absolutely. These really are great points. I really look forward to the comments to hear what our viewers have to say. We always get such great input
Oh,
anyway. But
great.
there's some real thing. Yeah, these a lot of this, really most of it, does not apply to younger daters.
I just want to, and one more thing, and I'll stop talking because I do that. All of this stuff that we talk about is what I help people with. And it's shocking, there's no shame. It
Mm-hmm.
is really problematic.
Yeah.
And it helps to have someone as your guide who's been in it and walks in your shoes and
Well,
can
and
help you.
you've definitely been in it. You have more
Oh,
stories, and a
yes.
lot of them are right there in the book. I
Yes.
just love that read. Pick that up. You'll learn a lot more about Treva and likely a lot more about yourself. So, thank you again for watching. And Treva, I can't wait till we talk again on Second Act TV.